There are quite a few legal requirements when working on a stable yard. The first is horse welfare. Horse welfare means that horses should have a suitable environment to live in, access to sufficient food and clean water, appropriate company, adequate exercise or turnout, and protection from pain, suffering, injury and disease. It's always good to know your employment rights. If you're employed, you should have a contract of employment. This should include the names of you and your employer, the date on which you start work, your hours of work, what you'll be paid, your holiday entitlement, details of notice periods, i.e. how much notice you must give if you want to leave, your sick pay entitlement, and details of disciplinary dismissal and grievance procedure. My exam, once I said contract of employment, they were happy with that, but it's always useful to know some of the examples. An employer must not pay you less than the national minimum wage. If you're over 25, you should be paid at the national living wage rate, and if you're an apprentice, this is paid at a different rate, so make sure you're getting paid the correct amount. An employer must adhere to the working time regulations. These state that on average, which is usually over 17 weeks, you should not work for more than 48 hours per week. Under 18 should not work for more than 8 hours per day or 40 hours per week, but there are some exceptions that you can get further advice from ACAS. If you're employed, you'll be entitled to paid holiday. Statutory holiday entitlement will depend on how many days per week you work. If you work 5 or more days per week, you'll be entitled to 28 days holiday per year, including bank holidays. Your employer will let you know how much notice is needed to request a holiday, and they may have a policy about when you can take your holiday. If you're employed, you'll also have sick pay entitlement. If you're ill for 4 or more consecutive days and you're an employee, you should get statutory sick pay instead of your normal pay. If you aren't entitled to SSP, you may need to claim universal credit. There should be disciplinary dismissal and grievance procedures in place to deal with any concerns about your work. Concerns may be about your behaviour at work, your standard of work, or your absence from work. If the issue is severe enough, your employer may choose to take disciplinary action rather than talking to you informally. Disciplinary action can lead to dismissal. Next, we get to health and safety. You have a legal responsibility to take reasonable care of your own and others' health and safety. This means following instructions, wearing appropriate personal protective clothing, and reporting safety concerns to a senior staff member. Safeguarding is about protecting children and vulnerable adults from harm, including bullying, abuse, or neglect. Every yard should have someone trained in safeguarding. Be familiar with your yard's safeguarding policy and code of conduct, and make sure you report any concerns to the designated person. Equality, diversion, and inclusion. These rules ensure that you can work without worrying about being discriminated against in any way. Businesses are required to ensure equal treatment for all, and if you feel someone, including yourself, is being discriminated against, you should report it to a senior member of staff. Finally, we come to data protection. By law, personal information about staff and clients must be kept confidential, with measures in place to ensure it's kept secure, for example, a locked cabinet or by use of computer protection software. Finally, here's a little reminder of all the areas.